past 8 years, I've never gone to a vet. It's just never been something that I felt I've really needed to do. I've always been a little bit anti-doctor. It doesn't mean that they're not good or anything, but it's just that I think that sometimes people don't realize that when you go to a doctor because you're not feeling well, they look at you and they basically make an educated guess. So they've been educated to know what to look for, and then they ask themselves, could it be this, could it be that? And they'll basically guess. If it's something serious, then you go to a specialist and they do certain tests on you. And now when those tests get done, then the scientists or whatever check, and like they do throat swabs or they do blood work, and that's how they really find out what is going on, or MRIs, or they do certain tests. In the same way, a dentist will go and look at your mouth, and they'll need to use the x-ray machine to see what's really going on. I don't have access to those kind of tools. Almost a decade, all the snakes that I've taken care of, if they've had any problems, I've been able to deal with them myself, and I've been able to fix them. I've done a lot of things that I think you shouldn't do if you don't feel comfortable doing. They could be risky if you didn't know what you're doing. I've always been the type of person that's ready and willing to kind of learn how to do something and figure it out myself. Akira has been a snake that's been like with me for probably close to 4 years. I'm really bad at keeping track of birthdays and all that stuff. I just kind of get an animal and I take care of it. It's as if I've just always had it. I don't really keep, oh, I've had you for 3 years, I've had you for 4. Like, I don't count even the time until they're ready to breed. I just look at them and I feed them and I take care of them. And it's more of like a feeling, seeing kind of thing. I've always been more visual. So I know when an animal is ready to breed, not by its age, but more by its size. I'm not pushing the animals to get big fast. It would be wrong to kind of try breeding animals according to their size and just try and get them to that size as fast as possible. I've always kind of tried to get them to that size more of a natural, reserved way, so when they do get to that size, I know by then they're old enough also. With Akira, I got her from a room full of snakes basically that somebody had, and the snakes were not in the greatest condition. I think that her problem started long time ago, and she just didn't show signs. That can happen when something's wrong with a snake. It doesn't necessarily show. With certain diseases or stuff, they can be carriers. The same way that we can. Sometimes we could be carrying something and nobody knows and it doesn't show. And then all of a sudden it gets bigger. So I guess an example would be something kind of like HIV. Sometimes you have HIV for a long time before it becomes AIDS. I'm guessing that Akira might have something called inclusion body disease, and it's basically kind of like AIDS for the snake world. If Akira has this, there's no cure for it and she'll have to be put down. And also, she's been around one other of my snakes, so if she has it, then basically both of them will most likely have to be put down. And this is something that I can't test for, so I need to know if she has this, because if she does, it affects my whole collection, so I've been very careful to keep her away from all my other snakes, except for the one that she's kind of been exposed to. We're going to be going to a vet, or we're going to go to a school in Guelph, and they do exotics and stuff, so we're going to get her tested for that and see if that's what she has. She's the only square tail that I have, so if she ends up having this problem, that's the end of that line. There'll be no square tails for me. If she doesn't have it, then we'll figure out what she needs to treat her, and I'll just take you along on that journey. So this is Akira, and she was acting totally fine until about this summer. It seems like it's neurological because she's not relaxing. She she's like foaming at the mouth, and so her mouth is opened a lot of the time, and there's kind of like saliva coming out of her that's a little bit thicker, and she's a little disorientated, so she's just a bit of a mess. She acted totally normal for like years. Around fall, all of a sudden, she started acting like twerky. The closest thing I can compare it to is the way that a ball python like twists its head and stuff. She's doing stuff like that. The journey to Guelph begins.
Tournez à gauche.
Ah, est-ce que tu peux parler français?
Oui, je pratique maintenant.
Ça c'est très bien. Je vais aller à l'école de français.
Ah oui.
Ah, mais oui.
C'est bon, alors on peut parler en français. C'est une vidéo en français maintenant.
Ah oui. Allez à la gauche. Is it at la gauche? Is that right?
Tournez à gauche.
Tournez à la gauche. S'il vous plaît, mon ami. Ah. Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est bien, un petit chien.
Ah, mais oui.
Ah, voilà le papillon, c'est bon.
Oh, goodness.
Ah, mon Dieu. C'est très frio. Froid. J'ai oublié tout mon français. This is Priya.
Hi.
She's taking on us. I still can't talk properly. I haven't woken up yet. I'm just like, hi everyone, we're vlogging. I hate vlogging. I feel like such a tool. I feel like such a tool holding my tool. It's like mirror, mirror on the wall.
That way?
That
way? Well, we'll just follow what he says. He's saying go there.
Yeah, okay, just do what it tells you. Do as it says, not as it does. Another reason that I'm reluctant to go to a vet is because it's bloody like 2 hours away.
Yep.
And I only ride motorcycles because cars are for sissies. I'm just kidding.
I'm a sissy.
Oh man, and now we all have COVID. COVID. Okay, so how are you enjoying being a snake mom?
The best. I love him so much.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're very happy?
So happy.
That's great.
The best decision I've ever made. We're learning a lot together.
Say it again. What did you say?
The best decision I've ever made.
Oh! She's made a lot of bad decisions. So, yes, she is now the proud owner of Diesel, who's now AKA Ragnarok?
Ragnar Lothbrok.
Ragnar Lothro. Okay. Is that from like Game of Thrones or something?
Ragnar Lothbrok was a Viking, very famously known for dying in a snake pit. I thought the name was hilarious.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I've been really good. I've been like staying at home and enjoying quality time with the wife.
What else is there to do?
It's like, when's she gonna go back to work? It's like, before it's like she wakes up and goes to work, and then it's just like, I can do anything. I shouldn't even say anything else. Hola.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, yes, has Akira been here before?
No, it's my first time.
Okay, so, hope you don't mind, your questions might take a little longer than Ragnar's.
Absolutely unacceptable. I got things to do on this beautiful day. I was going to go snowboarding. Just kidding.
You're not going to have much snow.
Yeah, you can ask me everything you want.
Okay, thank you so much. So, how long have you owned Akira?
I think I've had her for like 3 to 5 years.
Okay, and did you get her from a breeder or a pet store?
I got her from some guy's ghetto basement.
Oh, wow, that's a unique origin story there.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I'm guessing Kijiji?
Yep.
Or-
Yep.
Okay. And then, do you handle a ship often?
I did until she so basically I breed snakes, and I've been caring for them and basically dealing with anything that comes up mostly myself. So I've never actually gone to a vet, and I don't know, I've had other people go to vets and seen things being like misdiagnosed and whatever, so I've been kind of not for that. But with Akira, what ended up happening is the first like years of her life she was totally fine, and then around the end of this summer she started acting differently. So it seems neurological. If a snake gets a cold or if something's off, you can treat it with temperature or humidity or bigger home,
Yeah.
smaller home, whatever. But with her, she started kind of acting the way a spider ball python would, disorientated, kind of moving a little differently. So with something like that, it's like, I know that, what do I do? My biggest concern is like, does she have inclusion body disease? Because basically if she has that, then it's not really curable. If she has something that can be treated, I'd want to treat her. So she eats perfectly fine, but she's just, something's off with her. She has a thicker saliva, and like her mouth is slightly open sometimes, and she kind of like goops a bit. I haven't had anything like that happen with any of my animals, and I'm very particular about keeping them all clean and fed properly and everything. So it's just like with her, it's just something that I want her to be tested to see if she has that specifically.
No, that's very fair. And it sounds like you have a lot of experience with snakes in general.
Like, I also kind of wanted to make a connection with you guys, because it's just like, when you have so many animals, it's not really possible for me to come with like 100 snakes and get them tested one by one. So it just be nice to, I don't know if there's any way to get access to testing or people that can test and stuff like that, because it's just in Toronto, it's like there's nothing. And if I go to the vet, lots of the time they don't have the experience, and it's just, I don't want someone guessing. I want the actual to know.
And that's very understandable, especially since you're breeding them. Any other reptiles besides snakes?
Yeah, so geckos, mostly snakes and geckos, but I have different species of snakes and different species of geckos.
Okay. And then are they housed together?
They're all separately housed.
I'm guessing.
It was like around the end of the summer, and I wanted to come earlier, but I don't drive.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So at the end of the summer, you quarantined Akira.
Yeah. So I have probably about like 40 that are more like my pets, that older, and I'll take them out to the park, and I'll take them out and let them explore and whatever. So I do this with her, and that's when I noticed like something's off. From that point on, like, I didn't let her kind of like hang out with other snakes.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. And then, have you ever had any new snakes, like, since when you noticed that happening to Akira?
Oh, I don't really like. So in the past, I used to buy a lot more, because it was like, it started off as like a small thing, and then I just kept getting bit by bit, like a snake here, a snake there. But now I got like one snake this year. I don't really buy snakes anymore.
Oh, okay.
If I could go back and not get a snake from that kind of condition, I wouldn't, because like now I have some more expensive animals, so I'm very careful about, like, I used to rescue snakes a lot too, but it's just, I don't risk my animals getting problems.
No, that's completely fair. That's especially since you've got so many like different species together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other pets besides the snakes and the geckos?
No.
Okay. And then, you said ever ever since you noticed the problem, so you've been quarantining her. Have you still been able to sort of handle her? Like,
I can handle her, but she's wonky. Like that's
yeah,
like it's not like when you hold a snake, lots of the time, maybe when you first take them out, they're a little bit anxious, and
Right.
then they calm down, and then you have like a nice experience. And with her, like, she's not striking, but like I can tell she's not comfortable. Like she's off. So I haven't, like, I've been trying to disturb her as little as possible. Just make sure she eats. Yeah, clean up her home and everything, because it's like she goobers on the sides of her home.
So, would you like to describe the sort of, you think the goobers are her saliva?
Well,
I'm guessing?
no, like, yeah, she's rubbing against the sides of the home and putting, like, saliva, but it's like a thicker saliva that she's putting kind of on the sides of the home. So whenever I clean her home, I gotta really, like, extra clean everything, and she'll just do it again every time.
Has she have any problem shedding?
No, she's shedding properly, eating properly. Like, it's just basically she's moving the way a spider ball python would, like, that has a bad wobble.
And then, how frequently does she shed, and when was the last time she have shed?
All my snakes shed kind of just the way they normally would. Like, with the babies, like every like month or so. With the adults, every few months.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really track that. It's more of something like, let's say someone had a bad shed, I would soak them and help them. But other than that, they're all shedding properly.
Okay.
And she isn't continuously shedding, because sometimes if something's off with a snake, they'll keep shedding, and she's not doing that. She's just shedding the way she normally would.
Okay. And then, I know she's a female boa, and have you ever used her for breeding?
No.
Okay. All right. And then, are there any other sick animals or any mortalities recently in your
No.
collection? No. Good.
Like, the only time I ever lose animals is when they're born.
Oh.
So it's just like, sometimes, you have babies and some of them don't, like, they're not thriving or whatever. But
Right.
other than that, like, my whole collection has been, like, really healthy.
That's good to hear. Okay, so I'm going to move on to a couple of questions about Akira's husbandry and her type of enclosure, if that's good with you.
Yeah, sure.
So, what type of enclosure does Akira live in?
She's in a 4x2.
And then, is it glass? Is it...
It's plastic. She has a tub that she can soak in if she wants to. She has a place to hide. She can go from hot to cold. And I use newspaper. I don't use substrate.
Okay.
I have a room that basically has a temperature of close to 80 degrees. And then I have humidifiers going, especially now because it's dry. She has a hot spot of 89 degrees usually, but then in the winter I boost it to 92.
Okay, and that's in Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then, would you happen to know, like, what her coldest spots might be? Do you track those?
Yeah, they're around 80.
Okay. And then, you said you had a humidifier. Do you measure the humidity?
Yeah, the humidity is usually around 60%.
Perfect. And how do you measure the humidity?
I measured the humidity of the room.
Does she have a hot spot? And is that like a heating mat or a heating rock?
It's it's basically like an insulated heat mat
Inside her cage, I'm guessing, or under her cage?
underneath.
Okay. And then I'm guessing they're unable to sort of like get into direct contact with the heating sources.
No.
Okay. And then let's see. Do you bathe them?
I give them a tub that they can fully soak in. Like, so if they want to go in the water, and I find certain species do and certain just don't, and I never really find my boas soaking.
Right.
They just don't seem to care to soak.
Yeah.
The only time that I'd actually give a boa a bath is, like, let's say it did have problem with a shed, then I would give it like a long bath and help them get the shed off. But like I'd say like more than 90% of the time they have perfect shed.
Oh, that's great. And then, how often do you clean their enclosure?
At least every week.
And do you use a specific disinfectant for that?
White vinegar.
Okay.
So yeah, like she has her hot side and she has her cool side, and she can stretch out. She can go to the cooler area, she can go to the warmer area, and she has a tub kind of in the middle, which helps boost the humidity too, and it also allows her if she needed to soak or drink. And in between, like if I smell in the room somebody went poo or whatever, I go and I clean it up. So I'm very sanitary.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And then her enclosure is located in, like, it's in a room by itself, in a room with other...
It's separated from the others.
Do you measure the temperature at night? I forgot to ask that, sorry.
Well, like I use something called a pulse proportional herpstat. So
Okay.
what it does is the heat is all on a dimming system. So with thermostats, lots of the time they turn on and off. But with mine, it's on a dimmer that adjusts. So if the room was to drop, it will make it warmer. And if it was to get warmer, it'll make it less warm. Yeah, so the temperatures are like right on.
Pretty consistent throughout the day and night.
Yeah, like the whole room is basically temperature controlled.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's amazing. And how about the light cycle? Is it also controlled like that, or
The light cycle is just normal. Like I have big window in the room, so the whole room does get light. I have a whole bedroom that's set up for the snakes, and their homes are all facing the middle of the room. So when the room lights up from the sunlight, the whole room is lit up.
Okay, and then for her Akira specifically, have you noticed any changes in her reptile, like, sort of environment or enclosure?
No, like it's all been the same. Like so in the same conditions that everyone else has been fine. She specifically has something wrong with her.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna move on to the nutrition questions.
Yep.
So, what type of food do you offer Akira?
I offer her rats and birds.
And how often do you feed her?
Usually every 3 weeks.
The rats, how are they sourced? And are they sort of,
They're farmed. Like, so basically I have a rat farmer, and he gives me, I order various sizes of rats, mice, and birds. Usually feed them a rat, then I'll feed them a rat, and then I'll feed them a bird.
Okay. And then these are they still alive?
No, they're all frozen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you haven't really brought her to the vet or anything, so I'm just gonna ask some, like, basic, past, like...
Yeah, go for it.
Type of questions. Yeah. So, you said you've never bred her, so I'm gonna just skip the reproductive stuff.
Yep.
How is her general attitude today? Is she still acting? I guess that's...
She's relaxed. Like, she's when you don't bother her, she's just like right now, she's just chilling.
Okay. But you notice that she's sort of in your terms neurological when she's sort of
When you take her outside or when you handle her, it's just...
And then you said no changes in eating. Any changes in drinking?
I'm pretty see, with me, I don't like, I check my animals a lot and I take them out and stuff, but I don't really... I'm the type of person where it's like, if everything's going well, it's just going well. I never really check to see if my animals are drinking. Like to me, the biggest thing is eating. If they're eating properly and they're pooping properly, then everything's good. Like even with the age of, like, I don't know my animals' birthdays or like when they poo and when they shed. I just kind of like take care of them all, and if everything's good, it's good. And if, like, I notice if one doesn't eat or if something's off, like, I watch them a lot, so it's like I know what's going on, but I don't specifically check when they're drinking.
That's fair. And so, with that said, like, how about the pooping? Her pooping okay?
Yeah, her pooping's fine.
Good. How about any breathing problems at all with her?
Breathing? She hasn't been making any breathing sounds. Like a little bit, maybe. Like I just feel like she's a little gunked up, but she hasn't been like I've seen before where animals are just like whenever they breathe, it's like a terrible sound. Like she's not making any noises. She's quiet. She's eating properly. It's just as soon as you handle her or let her kind of go outside, something's off.
So, yeah, that's everything for now. I'm sorry. I know that took...
Oh, it's all good. It's been a fun experience. It's a learning experience, and yeah, like with medications and all that stuff, I haven't dabbled in any of that. I haven't injected any of my animals or anything. So, like all that kind of stuff to learn what you could give or what you could do would be interesting if it comes to that.
Sure. I will let the doctor know that that's what you're interested in and that you want the inclusion body disease testing.
Yeah.
Or you're interested in that, and then...
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well.
So this is what we get.
Left onto College Avenue West.
We decided to go out on... It was a normal day.
It was a normal day when we left.
And now it's snowing like midwinter.
Canada.
Welcome to Canada. It's
I
like...
can't even see in front of me. Wow.
It's insane. We are on a mission to get a nice burger. And then it's like black in here and white out here.
I hear ya.
I didn't catch the interview because we were like busy eating burgers and stuff, but I was pleasantly surprised by how at least nice they were, so like that's very good.
Super sweet. Very thorough. Lots of questions.
My main thing is I wanted to get a cure tested for inclusion body disease, and they're going to do like a blood test, like a certain test to see if there's inclusions in it. It's not 100% accurate, but at least it's something. It's just crazy because with these things, like Priya was just talking about what happened with the cat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the cat, they diagnosed him and it wasn't looking good, so I'd set the date for him to be put down. And in the end, my mom ended up paying for the very expensive surgery, and he only gained at least a week, if that. He ended up passing away out of kidney stones, so, I mean, there was nothing that was going to be done to save him.
And how much did the thing
The
cost?
surgery was at least $2,000 extra. Yeah.
Yeah, so like here's the thing, it's like there are animals and we care about them and stuff, but it's just there's a lot of money that can be spent on these things without a lot of results, and there's no guarantees. So even with this test, like it's not, who knows what percent accurate it is, but I have to just be super careful that it doesn't spread to any of my other snakes, and if it does test that she has inclusion in her blood, I'm just going to put her down because that's basically the right thing to do. And like there's other tests they can do, but to me, I want to do this one specific test, and that's basically all I wanted to do. And in Canada, there aren't, like even they said to do the proper test, they have to send it to the States, and to send it to the States, they have to do CITES work, which like is basically going through the same process you'd have to go through to import a snake from the States into Canada or Canada into States. So, and they said they've done it before and it's cost thousands of dollars, and then it took a while on transit where the samples were no good anymore. So it's just like, imagine spending thousands of dollars on like, it's just crazy. And it's just like, at the same time, it's like our animals to us can be like priceless in certain ways. To me, I look at it like, I'm not like, I'm already going to be spending more to just find out what's going on than I spent buying Akira. And I've spent years raising her. So it's just like, I do, like, if there's something that you can find out, you want to, but it's just like, you don't want to be putting so much money into something when there's no guarantees. And it's sad, and I don't want to lose her or anything, but like, either way, it's like, if we can treat her and it ends up costing a lot and she gets better, that's fine. But if there's no guarantee that she's going to get better and it's just like a chance, like I'm better off just kind of caring for her, just kind of letting it be, than, you know, spending $1,000 trying to fix something and have no idea what it is.
And for her quality of life too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if there's nothing to be done, then it's about pain management and all those things too.
Yeah. And if she does have inclusion body disease, it's not treatable. So there's nothing you could just keep her alive and wait for her to slowly die, which I wouldn't want to do. Like, if she has that, I'd be putting her down like right away. So I don't even.
Sad.
Yeah, it's sad. And yeah, so every time it seems like every time we go to the vet, it's $100.
Yeah.
It's basically around $100, which is.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll speak to that for vet college. The first visit was $100, and so this is a follow-up for me. It's only going to be $40. So they're very good at that. Yeah.
So that's good. And like, I really didn't want to go to any vets in our area because I know that they don't have the things to test our snakes. So in the same way that when you go to the doctor, they send your blood work to a hospital or to a science lab or something, same thing's happening with the animal places here. None of the animal places, like here locally, Toronto, our area, have the equipment for testing reptiles. And even here, they're sending samples out to the States to like big labs or whatever. So it's like we're very limited with what we have. So I'd rather go to the school or the direct source instead of having to go to a doctor who's just gonna, like, you know, send us somewhere else.
I phoned my friend who actually went here to the Guelph vet school, and he advised me that, you know, same as Matt was saying, we can find a vet in Toronto, but if it's anything specific, you know, most vets are working with cats, dogs, maybe rarely birds. And so his best advice was to take the drive here, even if it's a little added cost of renting a car or whatever to get here. The expertise is not only that of a student, but you have a teacher working over them, and these teachers have been teaching for many years, and so you're getting a lot of expertise for a very affordable price. Renting the car is minimal. It was a better decision to come here, and we've had such really great care. They're asking a ton of questions. They're very thorough, very empathetic, and yeah, it's just been a really good experience coming here. I'm gonna keep coming here.
Yeah. And I agree. It's been nice. It's nice to actually be able to know you can go somewhere. But yeah, so basically in a decade of keeping reptiles, I've never really had to go to the vet because I've never had any issues with animals dealing with anything that I couldn't, you know, research online, watch videos and study. And it's just, that's in the same, like, we have access to so many different keepers and breeders, people making videos or reading articles that people have wrote in the past. So to me, I really am a little bit more anti-vet because I'd rather learn from a reptile keeper that has been breeding their whole life. Because to me, somebody that's basically been doing what I'm doing would have done it for like 50 years back in the past when like people didn't even know about that stuff. They've had to learn all these things themselves. I like that kind of first-hand experience a lot more than going to somebody that hasn't had as much first-hand experience. They've read and they've learned and they look at things and they learn to diagnose, but I don't need someone to look at my snake and tell me something's wrong. I know something is kind of wrong with it and I want to be able to test it. So it's nice to be able to kind of have a place where you can actually get your animals tested for something, because it's just...
It's a real answer.
Yeah.
It's a quantifiable actual test that's happened, and it's, I mean, your gut instinct takes you very far, and then this takes you to the finish line definitively.
Yeah, it's like, I want some answers. I don't want some guesses.
Yeah.